Imagine losing everything. Your savings, your rent money, your partner's trust, your sleep, and still feeling the urge to try again. Not because you're reckless, not because you don't care, but because something inside you is whispering, just one more. One more spin, one more bet, one more chance to fix everything. This is not stupidity. This is not weakness. This is neurological hijacking. And once it starts, it doesn't just take money, it takes identity. Today, we're stepping inside the mind of someone addicted to gambling. Not to judge them, but to understand them. Because when you understand the psychology, you realize this isn't about luck, it's about wiring. At the center of gambling addiction is dopamine. But dopamine is misunderstood. It's not the pleasure chemical, it's the anticipation chemical. It spikes before the reward, not after. When someone places a bet, the brain lights up. Not because they've won, but because they might win. And uncertainty is what makes it powerful. In psychology, this is called variable ratio reinforcement. Unpredictable rewards create the strongest behavioral addiction known to science. Stronger than fixed rewards, stronger than guaranteed outcomes. When the brain cannot predict when the reward will come, it tries harder and harder and harder. This is why slot machines are so addictive, not because they pay often, but because they pay randomly. Every spin is a question mark, and the human brain hates unanswered questions. It craves resolution, closure, certainty. So when someone loses, their brain doesn't say, stop, it says, finish the story. This is why people chase losses. They aren't just chasing money, they're chasing emotional closure. The brain wants to undo the discomfort of losing. It wants to return to balance. But gambling doesn't restore balance, it deepens the imbalance. Now, let's talk about something terrifyingly subtle, the near-miss effect. When a slot machine shows two matching symbols and the third one just barely misses, the brain reacts almost the same way as if it had won. Heart rate spikes, dopamine rises, motivation increases, but it was still a loss. The brain confuses almost with progress. It whispers, you were close, you're getting better, next time. But chance does not reward effort. It does not track improvement. Probability has no memory. The brain does, and the brain tells stories. Now let's address the illusion of control. People who gamble often believe they can influence outcomes through timing, through strategy, through feeling lucky. This is cognitive distortion. The mind prefers feeling in control over feeling helpless. And if someone's real life feels chaotic, unstable, powerless, then gambling becomes a place where they feel agency, even if it's false. The illusion of control can feel safer than accepting randomness. Here's what most people don't understand. For many gamblers, it isn't about money at all. It's about escape. When life feels overwhelming, when stress feels suffocating, when loneliness becomes loud, gambling narrows the world. In that moment, nothing else exists. Not debt, not conflict, not regret, just the spin, just the numbers, just the possibility. And that possibility feels like hope, even if it's artificial hope. Then comes the shame. After the loss, after the realization, after the damage, there is guilt, secrecy, isolation. And shame is heavy, so heavy that the brain looks for relief. And what provided relief before? Gambling. So the person returns, not to win, but to escape the shame created by losing. This is the addiction loop. Stress, gambling, loss, shame, gambling. And each cycle strengthens the neural pathway. Over time, the brain adapts. The dopamine spikes become weaker. The wins feel smaller, but the urge becomes stronger. Why? Because addiction shifts from pleasure-seeking to pain avoidance. The person is no longer chasing excitement. They're running from discomfort. This is when gambling stops being thrilling and starts being necessary. Not logically necessary, neurologically necessary. Let's talk about financial devastation, because the brain does something dangerous. It convinces the person, I can win it back. This is the gambler's fallacy, the belief that previous losses increase future chances. But probability resets every time. The coin doesn't remember. The roulette wheel doesn't remember. Only the brain remembers, and it remembers the emotional pain of losing. So it gambles to erase that pain. But erasing pain with risk creates deeper pain. Imagine someone sitting alone at night, phone glowing, account nearly empty, heart racing. They know they should stop. They promise this is the last time, but their body feels restless, uncomfortable, anxious. That feeling isn't weakness, it's withdrawal. The brain has been conditioned to expect dopamine from gambling. Without it, there is agitation, irritability, mental noise, and placing a bet feels like relief, even before the result, because anticipation alone releases dopamine. Recovery begins with awareness. When someone understands this urge is neurological, they stop seeing themselves as broken and start seeing themselves as conditioned. Neuroplasticity works both ways. The brain can be rewired, but it requires replacing the variable reward system. Healthy risks, exercise, goal-based achievement, social reinforcement, therapy, structured reward systems. The same brain that learned gambling can unlearn it, but it takes repetition and support. If you're listening to this and you recognize yourself, you are not stupid. You are not hopeless. You are not beyond repair. Addiction thrives in silence. It weakens in awareness. The moment you understand the mechanism, you gain power over it. Not instant control, but direction. If this video helped you understand something deeper, subscribe. Not for entertainment, but for awareness. Because the more you understand how the mind works, the less it controls you without permission. On this channel, we don't judge behavior, we decode it. And once you can decode the mind, you can rebuild it. If this resonated with you, leave a comment with the word awareness, because awareness is where recovery begins. And remember, addiction is powerful, but understanding is stronger.